If you don't know me, my name is Carina. I'm a dance major at Texas Tech University. This video is going to be the third part of my story time of my trip to New York. I have posted vlogs about packing for New York and traveling to New York, but I really wanted to spend my trip just really embracing the experience this summer. And so the videos that I have are very limited, but I will include those. So we're gonna talk about our trip and do a little story time. This trip was in the works for a hot minute, meaning it was one of those trips that you talk about, and you talk about in class and you talk about with your friends, and you're not really sure if it's gonna make it out of the group chat. But this one made it out of the group chat with, in hindsight, only 4 of us, when we kind of wanted there to be more, but it just ended up working that way. We were in New York. We were in the city for 8 days. That's including traveling, early morning the first day, late evening the last day, stuff like that. So we're going to talk about multiple things: location, where we stayed at, what we kind of experienced, mainly where we stayed, transportation through the city, food that we experienced, and the main reason we were there, which was dance. For reference, if you see me looking at things, I have notes on my computer. I'll just put it on my lap. Also, this is a really weird thing. It looks like I'm not wearing pants. I promise I am. They're just gray sweatpants, and they look really weird. And you're currently sitting on my bed frame, so if I move and the camera moves with me, just go with it, This is a new setup that we're trying to figure out. So we were visiting New York, but we actually stayed in an Airbnb in Newark, New Jersey. In hindsight, we probably should have flown into New Jersey if we were going to be staying in New Jersey, but we flew into LaGuardia instead, which is all the way on the other side of the island, or peninsula technically, but we'll get to that in a second. So we stayed in this cute 2-bed, 1-bath apartment that was rented out on Airbnb. There was I want to say full-size bed in one of the rooms, and then there was a couch and a cot. I slept on the cot personally. Riley slept on the couch in the living room, which is one of the bedrooms, and then my friends Annie and Nikki slept on the bed. We shared a bathroom. It was pretty decent size, actually. It was a full shower with a tub, and then we also had a kitchen with a full-size fridge, stove, oven, microwave, and a table to sit at, which I believe we had some of the best memories just sitting at that table, so exhausted after the day. But yeah, this location was perfect for us because it was in walking distance to both Newark Penn Station and a Whole Foods. The Whole Foods was closest to us, so we actually saved some money by making some of our meals, grabbing snacks, grabbing water each morning, stuff like that. It was hard at first to figure out how to get into the city, or from New Jersey to the city, because they have 2 different separate transportation. They have 2 separate transportation units. Transportation, why am I forgetting the word? But 2 different forms of transportation, because it's 2 different states. And so once we figured it out, it took at the most 15 minutes to get into the city, which is really nice. The only downside was that the apartment was a 3-floor walk up, so it was on the top floor of our little apartment building, which it's hard, after walking all day in the city, and because we were walking, we were dancing, we were tired, but it was really hard when we had luggage, because we all had suitcases. I personally had 2 suitcases, as well as a backpack and a carry-on. I think it was just a backpack. But I had a lot. We all had at least 1 big suitcase, and the stairs it was a small staircase with tall stairs. So that was a workout after traveling all day trying to figure out how to get to New Jersey. That was a whole thing. So that alone, just the travel day alone, was probably the worst day, because we didn't know what we were doing, and we were so tired, and we had heavy luggage. So I know I've heard this, like, what people tell you traveling in Europe with, like, cobblestone roads, that you don't need a rolling suitcase, but I would also agree with that, of, like, if you're staying somewhere that doesn't have an elevator, I probably wouldn't bring a rolling suitcase. I'd probably try to pack more in, like, a duffel or something like that, so you can, like, carry it and just lug it up the stairs, you know? It's a lot easier that way. But other than that, the stairs weren't that bad when we didn't have to carry all of our belongings, because I think we just spent the day mostly with, I had my tote bag just because I had my own sort of medicine, things that I needed to take care of in case something happened where I just, like, got sick or something. And then we had another backpack. We had Riley's backpack that we were kind of just passing around, taking turns carrying, with all the rest of our stuff. So that's basically all we traveled with, besides, like, we each had our own crossbody bags. But yeah, that was location-wise. We stayed in Newark, New Jersey. Very nice. We just took, I'll get into transportation. Next, we're talking about transportation. So figuring out the transportation situation from New Jersey to New York was a hassle, like I said. We spent the whole first day jumping from train to train, trying to figure out the bus system. We still wanted to take classes at the end of the night, so we went back to the city and then got on a bus to go back to New Jersey, and it was like 1 a.m. and we were just so dead tired that we were sleeping on the bus until we got to the Airbnb, which was still a walk. We finally figured out that it was a lot. Okay, for some reason my phone decided that was the perfect time to restart, so we are going to pick up where we left off. We finally figured out that it was easier to just take the path to the World Trade Center all the way from Newark Penn Station. I had read beforehand to take the path because it still let you use your Metro card. You could just put money on your Metro card to take you into the city for like $2.50. I had read that beforehand, but I hadn't refreshed myself on exactly how to do that, and so we accidentally took the New Jersey train, and that was like $25 that we didn't end up paying. We kind of just hopped off the train. But yeah, I had done my research beforehand that Metro cards were definitely the cheapest way to travel in the city that was so fast. So we did a 7-day unlimited pass. I think that was like $35. And so within the city itself, we could take any subway that stayed in the city and not really have to worry about it because we already paid for it. But that didn't include the path, and so we had to put money on our card every morning. We kind of just kept it. We put $10 on. No, we put $5.50 on our cards every morning. I don't remember how much we did. I think it was 10, and then every other day we refilled it. But that was easiest. I highly suggest using the path. It goes from the World Trade Center to Newark is one of them, but it stops in like Hoboken and it stops other places, I promise. And then you can also take it into more north of the city. So there's like a 14th Street stop. So if you wanted to go anywhere that was closer to there that you didn't need like a connecting route, or the World Trade Center didn't really get you to, that was definitely the way to go. Yeah, the World Trade Center was so cool. I didn't really get to experience that my first time I went to New York because we stayed in the city, and so I mainly stayed in like the Midtown area. But the World Trade Center was really cool. It was easy to navigate, trying to figure out like where trains were. It was decently labeled where each train was, trying to figure out like the letter, the uptown, downtown, that kind of stuff. I would definitely say this is not very much of like an in-depth how to use the New York metro stations, but it's I would look at YouTube videos, look at blogs, stuff like that, because those were very helpful to me. But on each station, each train either goes uptown or downtown, and so if you're going north, you go uptown. If you're going south, you go downtown. If you're going to higher numbers, street numbers, it's uptown, lower street numbers is downtown, stuff like that. And then I was very reliant. I was the navigator most of the time, so I was very reliant on Apple Maps, and I set it to only use the train if we were to get anywhere. It was like walking in the train because I couldn't drive. So that was very helpful. It stayed in tune of like what trains were actually open, because trains close, change tracks at different times, stuff like that. But since we mainly stuck to kind of a bit of a routine of going from the train to the World Trade Center to probably Broadway Dance Center or other things like that, it was easy to navigate of like, okay, which train is going to take us back to the World Trade Center to go all the way back to Newark. Yeah. So the next section I'm going to be talking about is all the food that we got to experience, because outside of dance classes, that's like the main thing I spent money on was food, and I really wanted to kind of experience as much as I could, because there's a lot of variety of food in New York, and experiences as well. So food was definitely a priority budget-wise for us and what we wanted to experience. It was something we set more money aside for. We probably could have eaten a lot cheaper and gone to a Broadway show, but that wasn't really what we were aiming for with this trip. As I mentioned, there was a Whole Foods by our Airbnb, so we did get groceries and dinners a few nights so we wouldn't spend all of our money eating out. Plus, it doesn't really make you feel that great if you're always eating out. I am going to preface this, I probably could have said this earlier, with I paid for all of my expenses, including travel, food, everything in between. It wasn't any sort of like, oh, look at what their parents are helping them pay for. It was definitely the money I earned in college through jobs over the summer, and it was an experience that I am very grateful that I got to go on, and very grateful that I could pay for. Obviously, I was able to save up because I did live with my parents over the summer, so that was nice. And I'm very grateful to them for that, but I did pay for this trip all on my own. Other than that, regardless, we really wanted to experience and experiment with all kinds of food, and we tried a lot of things in this city. My favorite places that we went to a restaurant in Little Italy. I can't remember the name of it, but I have it tagged on a carousel of pictures on my Instagram, and it was so good. I love vodka penne. That is vodka pasta sauce is really good stuff. It's like a pink tomato sauce. It's really good. The vodka gets cooked out of it, so don't worry about that. Little Italy was definitely a great experience. We got all dressed up, looked all cute, ate gelato. It was a great time. Then our professor took us to Cava one of the days for lunch, and that was like the best lunch I think I had there. It was still expensive, but like I'd compare it to like a Mediterranean Chipotle, but it's a little bit more upscale than that. But it was a really good experience, and I love Mediterranean food, so I will probably be trying to find Cava literally anywhere I go when I travel now. And then we also tried a Korean barbecue place, and that was hands down the best food that we had. It was also like, we chose a really expensive place apparently, so it was $50 for like a pound of chicken. I had chicken. They split like a course of beef. It was like $50 a person, but it was a wonderful experience. The waiter cooked all of our food for us because we had never done it before, but I know some people like cook their own meats. But our waiter cooked all of our food for us. He cooked my chicken, which had been like marinated, I believe, and it was just a wonderful experience. Other than that, we had bagels in the morning, or I had a protein bar every so often. I got to try the dark chocolate perfect bars. It's like dark chocolate almond. Those are the best things to ever exist, and I only have found them at that Whole Foods. But I could get them in bulk off of Amazon, but they're so expensive. But those, hands down, best protein bar I've ever eaten. You just have to make sure you eat it cold because it does melt. I had that experience. One of my bags was quite lovely. Now, on to our last section. Why we went to New York was, of course, to dance, because we were all dance majors. Our main priority on this trip was definitely to experience all that we could through dance. Everyone I traveled with on the trip, like I said, was a dancer. Like me, we all were in the Texas Tech dance program together. 3 of us still are, 1 of us isn't. But we initially decided to go to New York at the specific time because our professor would be there at the same time judging a breaking competition. And so we are definitely fortunate to have, his name is Why Not. We are definitely fortunate to have him as our professor here at Texas Tech University, and we have learned so much from him and gotten so many experiences, including getting kind of plugged into the 36 Chambers of Style intensive that was happening at this time, which included a battle competition, and brought Tony to New York. So we decided to have that experience with him and kind of use him as like a guide in some ways because he grew up in that area. So when we did meet up with him, it was nice to have that. But we also ended up doing a 10 class pass at Broadway Dance Center, which I highly suggest. It gives you pay upfront for 10 classes. You can reserve your slot for any level, for any style that you want to take. And it's a really good experience. We ended up taking about 3 classes a day and splitting them up. And then only taking 36 Chambers of Style classes. I think they ended up only doing 1 a day because they're like 3 hours long. So we ended up taking a good amount of classes in total. I, however, did not get to experience the 36 Chambers of Style intensive because I was also in summer school at this time. And so I really needed that allotment of time to sit in a cafe and do my homework because I had things that were due while I was still in New York. And so they got to meet some really cool people, and I'm really upset that I didn't get to have that experience, but I also really want my education, and I could have worked ahead, but I didn't, so that's on me. I did enjoy the alone time though, because I'm still very much a little bit of an introvert, and so just being able to sit there with a good cup of coffee and just like zone out for 3 hours and be in my own little space was nice. Let's see. So while we were there, the styles of classes that we took included contemporary hip-hop, contemporary jazz. I ended up taking a tap class, which included tap improv, which I had never done before in my life before that point. And so and it was like 45 minutes straight with like some of the best tappers that I've been in class with before. And I was like, this is stressful. But I did it. I got through it. And I wouldn't say I felt confidently about what I did because I haven't tapped since like sophomore year of high school, but I definitely am glad that I got to experience that, and I wasn't really afraid in that moment. It was more just like, okay, I'm running out of steps to do. So if you've ever experienced that, I'm right in that boat with you, I promise. We also ended up taking a Pilates class, which is nice because I've never done that before. That was one of the classes offered at Broadway Dance Center. And then we also took a heels class I don't actually know where it was, but we just found a heels class online that we took, I think like our last night before we flew out, and that was nice. It was a lot easier than we thought it would be because it wasn't necessarily like a heels class connected to a dance studio. It was a studio meant for just like heels. But I had never done like a heels dance before, so that was a good like confidence boost. I believe like that whole experience just made us so confident about our bodies, which I really appreciate. I greatly value this experience that I got to take with all of my friends, and I definitely love to travel and make these travel videos for y'all. And I couldn't ask for a better passion or community than I have and to be supported by. So I hope y'all enjoyed this little story time. And I want to show you guys some behind the scenes clips of what I, really hope sums up my trip to New York. So if I haven't shown you them already, I'll show them here.
It feels so amazing. got too impatient, so I just did my own thing. Yeah, I'll show you all the ropes. Love it, try to lie. It shows me all the codes, so I can bust the lie. He never turns it off, always in the spot. Show me where it up, ayy.
Thank you all. I love all of you for watching this video. You are beautiful souls, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye, lovelies.